Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 26th. Pray had a great Tuesday yesterday. And I pray that you were able to transcend those things that separate us from other people a little bit with the love and the truth that we know in Jesus Christ. We know that we don't do that alone. That's one of the messages here. The Spirit of God empowers us to do that. And to the extent that we become scoffers, we are forgiven as we come to Him and confess that sin. And we're restored and we're renewed, or like a resurrection, to begin brand new, to be filled with the Spirit, and to connect with others in this love and power that we know in Jesus Christ. We're going to continue to look at this Pentecost reading, and I don't know if you remember, but yesterday we talked about the fact that we live in the end times, and what the last days, if you will. Jesus ushered that in with his first coming. What we're going to see today is this prophecy of Joel. It shows us the end of the end times. Nothing comes after the last days, end times. And so really what comes is the end or the beginning of the new heavens and new earth. And what's really interesting to me is that you see this in the prophecy of Joel. So let's continue. Yesterday we ended with this: even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my Spirit in those days, these days in which we live, the last days, right? And they will prophesy. They will proclaim the reality of God in Jesus Christ and live like that in His word, in His love. Then it says, this prophecy from Joel: I will show wonders in the heaven above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and billows of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and glorious day of the Lord. And so you think, oh, what's going on here, right? We come from the place of Pentecost, the Spirit being given to all Christians, poured out on all Christians, to the prophesying, and then boom, here's the end of the world. Here's or the beginning of the new heavens and new earth, however you want to say that. Why so fast? What happened here? Well, lots of times the prophets in the Old Testament, they saw this time in which we're living, the last days, kind of accordion together. And so they saw the first and second coming of Christ almost as one unit. And that's just kind of a powerful reality. And so what Joel is talking about here, right on the heels of saying what we're doing during the last days, is the fulfillment of all things as Jesus comes. And there's a new heavens and a new earth, the home of God's people, right? And it says this then: and everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And so what does that tell you? All of this power that's being given to us by God's Spirit to be filled with His Spirit and to live in that, and to as God guides us to be witnesses, right? And to break down barriers and all those things. What's the outcome of that? Well, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Nothing you do is interesting in Corinthians, right? Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not ever in vain. Why? Because all those who call on the name of the Lord will be saved. And what's interesting in that Corinthians, the linchpin to all that is the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Is built on all of that, even as the day of Pentecost is, in a sense, because the resurrection ushered in the beginning of this new reality, and Jesus' second coming will fulfill it all. And now we continue to work in the reality of the resurrection, bringing renewal into everything we touch, in every place in the world through His love, and especially as we touch people with the truth of God in Jesus Christ. And everyone who believes in Him will be saved. And what's interesting here is and I want to read this real quick here. I don't want to get this to go too long, but notice here how Jesus' death and resurrection is the centerpiece of all of this. And just goes right on, verse 22. Peter continues, "Men of Israel, listen to this. So no longer is it the prophecy from Joel. Jesus of Nazareth was a man accredited by God to you by miracles, wonders, and signs which God did among you through him, as you yourselves know. This man was handed over to you by God's set purpose and foreknowledge, and you, with the help of wicked men, put him to death by nailing him to the cross. but God raised him from the dead, freeing him from the agony of death, because it was impossible for death to keep its hold on him. And so the center of everything is Jesus. That's why it says in John 15, right, that the work of the Spirit is to testify of Jesus, his death, his resurrection, the new life that we have in him, the new life that the whole world will have as it's renewed and restored. It all centers then on Jesus. And this is what we bring into the lives of those around us as we bridge those gaps by the power of his Spirit. Would you pray with me? Dearest Jesus, help us to see this time in which we live, these last days, and that we're part of a very exciting mission as you continue to redeem and restore all things. Help us, Lord, to bring your presence wherever we're at, to touch with your wisdom and with your grace everything that we're a part of, especially the people who are around us. I pray in your name. Amen. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. May God be with you. Bye-bye.